Tekken has already changed so much, but Tekken 3 marks the introduction of many favourite characters, perfected fighting mechanics, and a fantastic amount of secret material. The game is still widely considered to be the best in the series, and it's hard to disagree. This is where I was personally introduced to the series. I'm not going to let nostalgia cloud my judgment, but Tekken 3 is my favourite in the entire series. Why is that? Well, I don't think I could have had a better introduction to the series, with the amazing 3D full motion videos, the outstanding Tekken Force mode, and the implementation of Ukemi maneuvers and techniques. In short, a huge roster and the embellishing of comedy make Tekken 3, in my opinion, the first fully realised or proper Tekken game. Tekken 3.
Tekken 3. Wow, let me remember that. Let's see, it was way back, like 97, 96? Can't quite remember. It was a long time ago.
I first played Tekken 3 on the original PlayStation when it was released back in 1998. Tekken 3 was my first experience with a full Tekken game. When I first put the game into my PlayStation and turned on the power, I saw the amazing graphics, and saw the characters I could play as. There was more to unlock, and I was blown away. Then I played the game and fell in love.
Now, when I was younger, and I'd finished playing Tekken 2 to absolute death, I didn't really think that the game series could get any better at that point. You know, I thought it was so awesome that nothing could be as good or better. But Tekken 3 is better in a lot of different ways.
The character roster has actually dropped from 25 to 23. One could argue that the quality of the game, the graphics and soundtrack more than make up for the slightly smaller roster.
It looks graphically superior to Tekken 2, and actually I still think that Tekken 3 looks pretty good now. The polygons crisp, the colour, the textures are good, everything about it's really nice. There's a lot of good detail in it, and it runs very, very smoothly.
Amongst new characters are a giant panda, a fire-breathing mythical god, and Mokujin, a fighter that has a randomised moveset whenever a new round is started. Mokujin is instantly recognisable, and has made appearances in other Namco games. For instance, here he is in one of the stages from Point Blank 3, along with music and sound samples from Tekken 3. Since their introduction in this installment, Ling Xiaoyu, Jin Kazama, Brian Fury, Bruce Lee Jr., Forrest Law, Eddie Gordo, and Huarang have all become recurring characters.
My favorite character, of course, was Lei Wulong. He was just Jackie Chan. You know, it was awesome. He had like 4 different forms, maybe 5. It was great. He was great. I actually practiced with that character. It was like one of the only characters that I've really like dug into since TJ Combo from Killer Instinct.
The characters I like to play as the most are Hwang, Eddie Gordo and Brian Fury. These characters had great movesets that I found easy to pick up and play with, and with a little bit of playing and practicing the game a lot, I found myself mastering their moves.
I was really annoyed as a kid that Kazuya Mishima was no longer in the game. Instead we got Jin Kazama, or whatever his name is, and while he pretty much controls exactly the same as Kazuya, although some slight differences. I was a kid, I didn't like it, he was my favourite character, whatever. But even the characters that they introduced in this one were really good as well. I really liked Brian Fury, I liked his kickboxing style. It was a bit difficult to begin with, like figuring out his combos and how he worked and how he fought. He wasn't as fast, but he was quite strong. But if you got his combos down, he was really awesome, really good. I remember as a kid, and I was playing it through, and I was really disappointed because where's Bake? Where is he? Where's Bake? Where is he? He's my favourite character. I kicked ass as him. It's fine, don't worry. Because you don't have to worry about unlocking him. because his student is playable from the very beginning, and oh, I've had so much fun playing as him. Could never quite pronounce his name as a kid, even though the announcer would say it, which out the top of my head, maybe it's Huaran. Yes, I might be butchering that, but oh, he was glorious because he's basically Bake, but he's better, you know, and his combos just feel better, and oh, the torment I caused so many people with him. Brilliant.
Ling Xiaoyu is my favourite character to play as, and not just because I had a crush on her when I was younger, or still do. Her moves flow very well, and her ability to enter a ducking stance allows her to miss most medium and high attacks that are attempted against her. With Tekken 3, the combat movement was refined considerably. All characters could now sidestep, rather than just chosen characters that possessed moves that gave them the freedom. Because jumping was toned down, more emphasis was placed on sidestep dodges, which have become a staple feature of the series from this installment forwards. The quick recovery from knockdowns, known as the Ukemi maneuver, created new potential combo opportunities and eliminated the clunky nature of the first two games.
I was like, could it be? This is so easy. This is so simple. I can't believe that they would make a game that makes so much sense.
Now when someone knocked you down, you had options, other than waiting an age to stand up and face the next blow. Juggling was vastly improved, allowing players to string together more launcher attacks for better decimation of the opponent. This again reduced the overall clunky nature, as moves that should have connected in previous Tekken games are now capable of connecting. This creates better combo opportunities. Even the seasoned pros had new moves to master.
My favourite option that you can play in the game would have to be the Tekken Force mode. With its fun enemies and levels you have to fight through to get to the bosses.
I loved Tekken Force because you had this deep fighting system in Tekken 3, and then you could play it in a Double Dragon-esque street brawl mode, and that was awesome.
As a fan of fighting games and beat 'em ups like Double Dragon, The Simpsons and Turtles in Time, I really enjoyed the way Namco was able to make these different styles of gameplay work together.
The mode that I really enjoyed, and I mean really enjoyed, was Tekken Force mode. Now Tekken Force, if for some reason you don't know, was basically Streets of Rage with Tekken characters. It was awesome. Okay, sure, it controlled like utter arse, and trying to get to different areas on like up or down on the screen was far too cumbersome than it should have been, but it was really fun. It was basically a side-scrolling beat-em-up with the Tekken engine.
Well, I think it was a little bit awkward trying to get your character to face the direction he needed to face, because it's not built for that, but you know, it's just for fun anyway, so whatever.
In this mode, you are required to fight through a Streets of Rage inspired stage, battling small enemies and eventually boss characters. It even has those awesome chicken legs hidden around the place.
Chicken. Whenever you'd pick up the health item, it would say chicken, or something like that. It was pretty fun.
The announcer in the Tekken games has always been awesome, and every time you picked up chicken, he said in that very deep, gravelly, awesome voice, "Chicken," which was great. And even my friends today, we still make fun of it because it was just so awesome.
Chicken.
In this particular mode, the characters can actually attack in all 8 directions, meaning that spin kicks and other such moves are now quite favourable. You fight through 4 stages, each with a boss character who can earn you bonus time, depending on how quick they're beaten. All characters work in this mode, and play just as you'd expect.
Milk. Pure magic.
Every great game has secrets, and Tekken 3 is no exception. It's a great game, and it has secrets. A hidden mode called Tekken Ball can be unlocked. This mode sees Tekken transformed into beach volleyball.
Volleyball with Tekken characters, and you played volleyball by beating the hell out of the ball to send it over the net and try and score points. It was silly and absolutely ridiculous, but it was funny, you know. Had a couple of friends around, just having a laugh with it, really.
This is quite easily my favourite mode in any Tekken game ever, as it combines the slow thoughtfulness of the series with a rush and sense of urgency. You are required to hit a beach ball around. Hitting the beach ball with strong attacks will charge the ball, and it will damage the opponent if it hits them. You can also try to knock the beach ball over the opponent's line, so that they take damage that way. You can fight the opponent as normal, but no damage will be inflicted. This is a very fun mode, and playable in both single player and versus a friend. An example of a very silly idea, played incredibly straight-faced and winning on both fronts as a result. There are two super secret characters in Tekken 3. To unlock the first of them, you'll need to play through Tekken Force Mode 4 times. Do this successfully, and you'll play an extra stage. You'll be challenged by Dr. Geppetto Bozkonovich.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. Bozkonovich? Yes. He was interesting. He spends primarily 90% of the fight on his back or on his front. He was very difficult to get used to fighting as, because his fighting style was so bizarre, but he was very, very irritating to fight against when the computer was controlling him, because the computer knew how to control him, and if he stayed on the ground 90% of the time, most of the characters, unless you're playing as True Ogre, could really hit him very easily, which was really, really annoying.
Defeating Bozkonovich is a challenge in itself, but it will unlock him as a playable character. His fighting style is absolutely unorthodox and is not suited to button mashers. Mastering Bozkonovich takes time and patience, but reaps wholesome rewards. It's possible that Bozkonovich's name originates from the 1981 Namco arcade game Bozkonian. The Geppetto is obviously a reference to the story of Pinocchio. Bozkonovich appears in several other Tekken games, but is only playable in this one and one other, Tekken Tag Tournament 2. The second super secret character in the PlayStation version of Tekken 3 is Gon.
Gon, who was a little cartoon dinosaur, but in the West, we had absolutely no idea what he was.
Gon is a little orange dinosaur created by manga artist Masashi Tanaka. Why he was included in Tekken 3 is not abundantly clear. He is immune to most attacks because of his height. However, he has several moves that can attack tall opponents in their high area. Gon can be unlocked in two ways. Beating him in Tekken Ball mode will enable you to select him, but an easier method is to get a high score in survival mode and input your name as G-O-N. Gon hasn't made any other appearances in the Tekken franchise, and according to Harada, he won't ever. Gon has a cult following and was requested by many fans for Tekken Tag Tournament 2, but unfortunately, Namco either chose not to or just couldn't include him.
When I was quite young, my first ever game for my PlayStation 2 was Tekken Tag Tournament. I believe I played a few of the other Tekkens before that, but this was the first one I actually owned. So I started collecting the other games because I was constantly playing the game non-stop. Eventually I got Tekken 3, which is the one I was after the most, because You had Dr. Boskonovich and you had Gon. And these two weren't in Tekken Tag Tournament for some reason. So yeah, I enjoyed playing as those characters. And then many years later I met a nice young lady. Hit it off well, and for some reason or other something didn't work out. And we met back up about a year later than that, and she had Gon as a cover photo, which surprised me because she didn't seem the type to be into Tekken at the slightest. A couple of years later we're now engaged, so that's my recap.
Speaking of hidden characters, Eddie Gordo has a costume swap character named Tiger Jackson. Tiger has an exclusive ending animation where he shows us some slick dance moves over at the disco. To play as Tiger, you need to press the start button while hovering over Eddie after beating arcade mode as Eddie. Not enough secrets for you? After playing as Jin Kazama and Ling Xiaoyu 50 times each, they could be selected with an alternate outfit. Both of them can wear their Mishima Polytechnic school uniform, and their battle arena is located on the school grounds. As with the last two Tekken games, there's music if you stick the disc into a CD player. Once again, it's just a single track, but it's cool all the same. I mean, it doesn't have to be there at all, so it's pretty neat. This track has very tribal drums and a nice distorted bass line, very much like what you'd hear in the game. Beat arcade mode once to unlock theatre mode. FMVs you've seen and music you've heard can be played in theatre mode, but there's more. Theatre mode will allow you to swap your Tekken 3 game disc with Tekken or Tekken 2 if you have them, after which you'll be able to watch the FMVs and listen to the music from those two games. There's a lot of content here, in what I consider to be one of my favourite games in the series, if not my favourite. It's not that it all goes downhill from here, but, well, if the next game is anything to go by. Before the 2000s, there was one more Tekken game, released for the Wonder Swan. Ever heard of the Wonder Swan? I don't expect you have. The Wonder Swan was a short-lived handheld console released by Bandai, the company Namco later merged with in the late end of the 2000s. The Wonder Swan was a firmly out-of-date system because it has no colour display. A later system, the Wonder Swan Color, was released, but the system saw the same fate thanks to the Game Boy Advance having greater pulling power. Even though the Wonder Swan is a rubbish system, it had some backing from large companies. In 1999, the world saw the first portable Tekken game, Tekken Card Challenge, exclusively for the Wonder Swan. It is like a cross between a dungeon crawler and Top Trumps, and on a colour system with better controls, it might have been somewhat respectable. For the short time in which I've played Card Challenge, I get the feeling that while it is a well-constructed and perfectly playable game, yep, you guessed it, it has no semblance to Tekken besides the characters, and could easily be adapted to any other license. It seems to me that the use of the Tekken license here was a last-ditch attempt to drive sales of the Wonder Swan system, and not to create a decent and well-thought-out game in the franchise. This is by no means a bad game if you like games in this style. However, this could very easily not be a Tekken game at all, and has no specified canonical placement within the series. Let me put it this way, Tekken fans needn't go out of their way to play this game. This is a grossly forgettable entry in the Tekken series that never saw a worldwide release, and with good reason. But wait, could this be a reimagining of the game? For iOS, Android, and web browsers? Tekken Card Challenge is on Android, iOS, and web browsers with support for augmented reality, and oh boy, this is awesome. Building on and refining the gameplay of Tekken Card Challenge, and taking out the stupid dungeon parts, this modern reworking is addicting. It is turn-based, and in each turn you can block, focus, or strike. This is basically rock, paper, scissors, but with an extra tactical level that suits Tekken. While the game could still easily exist without the Tekken license, this version of the card-based gameplay has an emphasis on the skill and deception found in regular Tekken. Although an account is required to play the game, and it is riddled with in-game purchases and social media integration. The graphics are a bit crappy. A bump map or two would really spice things. I've seen games made in the Unity engine that look like a photograph, so graphically this does need a lot of work. I have been playing the PC browser-based beta years ago when I wrote this document, and since then it's been released, and I haven't actually played the full game, but that's because my data was reset from beta to full release, which wasn't fair. Based on my experiences, I can say that it's really worth checking out. You'll be able to play the full version for free in your browser or on an Android or iOS platform. As it is, it's acceptable. With a little bit of work, it could be even better. Next time, we hit the 2000s. We look at two very good games, Tekken Advanced and Tekken Tag Tournament. You wouldn't miss it for the world, would you?